glasses.
Okay.
I don't know if they came and got them, but somebody was
up
inquiring
here?
about some glasses.
Somebody might have came and got one.
Okay.
That's cool. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. So we stopped yesterday in Sifat al-Salat, the description of the prayer, and we did the rukur', the description of the rukur', going into a rukur' and coming out of rukur', and we also did the sajda. Right, we did the first sajda, how the sajda should be, the sujood, and it was described as being in general spread, that the arm should be spread and the legs should be spread, right, as long as we're not harming the person next to us if we're praying jama'ah. So he says, rahimahullah, وَيَقُولُ سُبْحَانَ رَبِّيَ الْأَعْلَى. The dhikr to say when we're in sajda, Subhana Rabbi al-A'la, which is again 3 words. So if we don't know it, then inshallah ta'ala we should be able to memorize that dua, that dhikr for the sajda. Subhana Rabbi al-A'la. And again, obligatory, it has to be said at least once in sajda. Right? And to say it 3 times is better, right? And if a person has time to say more than that, 5, if they can make it an odd number, then this is even better. It's a description in here that's going to be hard to describe. You got to see it. Maybe I'll do it. It says, ثُمَّ يَرْفَعُ مُكَبِّرًا وَيَجْلِسُ مُفْتَرِشًا يُسْرَاهُ نَاصِبًا يُمْنَاهُ. Now it's describing after we come out of sajda, right? We make sujood, and then we come out of sujood, and then we go back into sujood. طيب, how to sit between بين السجدتين, between the 2 prostrations, right? How does a person sit? So it says you come up out of sajda saying Allahu Akbar. Saying Allahu Akbar, not necessarily raising the hands, right? With the statement Allahu Akbar, وَيَجْلِسُ مُفْتَرِشًا. This is described as, if you ever notice a person in front of you, basically they're sitting on their left leg, right? They're leaning on the left leg, and the right foot is like up like this, right? With the toes facing the Qibla. Sometimes people have the foot flat, but generally you'll see it. The description here is that the right foot is nasiban. So the left foot is flat on the ground, right? And the left is flat on the ground, and the right foot is like pushed up, killer, like this. And the toes should face the Qibla. So a person's toes are bent like this, right, facing the way we praying, and they're sitting on the left foot. This is one way to sit. And this is, as he says, يَرْفَعُ مُكَبِّرًا وَيَجْلِسُ مُفْتَرِشًا يُسْرَاهُ نَاصِبًا يُمْنَاهُ. طيب, وَيَقُولُ. And when they're sitting like this, now there's another dua. Is everybody clear on the picture, how it's supposed to look? Anybody know how to do it? You know how to do it, Shay? You want to show them or you want me to show them? I'll show them if you want me to. Nah, I can't see. Can't see.
I had to show them.
Yeah, like that, just like that. Did y'all see it when he did it the first time? That's the description when you come up from the sajda, between the sajdatain. Now some people might say it was difficult for my foot. You know, okay, that's the best thing to do. If you do it enough times, the body gets used to it and it bends, and it becomes easier. So while sitting like that now, coming up from sajda, sitting like that, يَقُولُ رَبِّ اغْفِرْ لِي. There's another dua, which is again 3 words. 3 words. Rabbi ighfir li. Oh my Lord, forgive me. Between the 2 sajdas. So we make the sajda, we come up out of sajda, sitting with the feet like that, and then we make the dhikr al-dua, Rabbi ighfir li, and he says, thalathan, 3 times. طيب, wal-wajib marra. The obligation is to say it at least once. Now all of these adhkar, these different du'as, they're short. It's not like it's a page worth. All of these so far are very short. 3 words, maybe 4 at the most. طيب. It says, ثم يسجد الثانية كالأولى. After, because we know every rak'ah is 2 sajdas, right? So that was the first sajda. We come up, sitting like that, and say, oh, Rabbi ighfir li. Muftarishan, and we say, Rabbi ighfir li, Rabbi ighfir li. Oh my Lord, forgive me. We say it at least once, and he says, thalath, and it's better to say it 3 times. ثم ينهض مكبرا قائما على الصدور قدميه معتمدا على ركبتيه إن سهل. Now, at this point, we finished the first rak'ah, or the second rak'ah. We finished the whole rak'ah, right? Let's say we finished the first rak'ah. So now we're going to stand back up. So now the question is, how does it look to stand coming out of sajda? Right? Because we might see people do a lot of things. People get up a lot of different ways. Some people almost jump up, they push off the ground and swing their feet. It's a lot of things that people do. So the description here says, ثُمَّ يَنْهَضْ مُكَبِّرًا قَائِمًا. So a person here is saying, of course, Allahu Akbar while standing up. قَائِمًا عَلَى الصُّدُورِ قَدَمَيْهِ مُعْتَمِدًا عَلَى رُكْبَتَيْهِ. Using, as you say, the ball of the foot to push yourself up, right? With the hands, if need be, then the hands could be on the knees to push yourself all the way up. Clear enough? If it ain't clear, say it ain't clear. Huh? Clear? No? If I come like this is the description, right? You come out of sajda, boom. You go back into sajda. Now I gotta stand back up. The balls of the feet, the hands here. If it's easy to do it like that. He's gonna mention again, we didn't get there yet, that it's dislike to do this. Dislike to do that. To put one in front of the other and do that. Some people might have to do it because maybe the weight, or they're not able to, right? You with me? That's the description here. Which means, with that description that's here, yanhab in sahula, if it's easy, which means, as it says here, wala yajlisu lil istiraha, meaning the description here means you don't sit, you don't pause, no pause. Meaning after the sajda you stand right up without coming back, resting, and then standing up. As it's called the sitting of rest. You with me? Some people, they don't come up. After sajda, they'll come up and sit again. Then they'll stand up and push off the ground. Right? That's another description. Right? This description here, there is no sitting. After the sajda, you stand straight up. To stand straight up. And the scholars, they differ on which one is better. Which one is better? The Prophet ﷺ, he did both. He stood straight up, and he did the jalsa istiraha. And the question is, as some of them argue, they say that he did the jalsa istiraha because it was a need when he got older, and he gained more weight, ﷺ. So he needed to rest before he got up. So they said if a person needs to rest before you get up, then do it. If there's no need, if you're strong enough to get up without resting, then they say you should get up straight out of the sajda without resting. Both are okay, but just to mention the difference, so Yes, bro. So that if you see, come on now. If you see somebody doing that, shut up. طيب. So this is the sajda. Now he says, فَيُصَلِّ الثَّانِيَ كَذَلِكَ. Now the next rak'ah, because we just did a whole rak'ah, right? Now he says the second rak'ah is to be prayed just like the first rak'ah. Everything we just discussed is the same for the whole next rak'ah, except for three things. طيب? Except for three things. The first thing, as he says, غَيْرُ تَحْرِيمًا, meaning when we stand up for the second rak'ah and we say Allahu Akbar, that Allahu Akbar is not to start the prayer over. We're not starting the prayer with that, right? Whereas in the first rak'ah, right, the initial takbir, Allahu Akbar, is to start the prayer. Right? So once we start the prayer, we don't have to start over because we stood up for the rak'ah. Right? So the tahrima, that Allahu Akbar, is not to start the prayer over. Okay? You with me? Clear? So, ghayru tahrima, and also in the second rak'ah, there is no opening dua. We don't make an opening dua. The first rak'ah was you make the takbir, opening dua, the ta'awudh, seek refuge from the shaitan. He says, so there is no initial takbir to start the prayer. There is no opening dua, dua al-istiftah, and there is no ta'awudh. We don't seek refuge from the shaitan again in the second rak'ah. He says, in ta'awwadha fil ula. If you already said in the first rak'ah, a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, then you don't have to say it in the second rak'ah. The first one is enough. Chill, you gotta chill. Sit down. Have a seat. ثم here. ثم يجلس مفترشا ويداه على فخذيه قابضا خنصر يمناه وبنصرها محلقا إبهامها مع الوسطى مشيرا بسباحتها عند ذكر الله. Now we're sitting for the tashahhud, right? When we do the finger, the pointing of the finger. So now it's a description of the finger pointing. How should the hand be when we're doing the pointing in the salah, right? Take her in there. It says, Yadahu ala fakhideh, that the hands at this point when we sit, they go on the thigh, right? Qabidan khinsarahu yumna wa binsaraha, that these two should be folded like this. طيب. Muhalliqan ibhamaha ma'al wusta, that the thumb and the middle finger go like this to make a circle, right? All of this while the hand is on the thigh. Mushiran bisabbahatiha, and what? The pointer finger is the one that is to be pointed, okay? And he says, "Inda dhikrillah." As some of the ulama say, every time that Allah's name is mentioned, that the finger should be moved, right? And then you'll see when Allah's name is mentioned throughout the dua that's coming. طيب. Everybody with me? The description of how the hand should be. This is one description, how the hand should be. When I say should be, doesn't mean that it's not another way you can do it. Okay? It could be like this. The author is bringing what he sees to be the best way to do it. Doesn't negate and say that you can't do anything else if it's not like this, and your salat is not invalid, your salat is not valid, anything like that. طيب. Killer. طيب. In the finger, as he says, to move when Allah's name is mentioned. Now, at this point, the left hand is on the left thigh, of course, right? وَيَقُولُ. At this point now, we're saying the first tashahhud. The first tashahhud, which at this point is probably the longest outside of Al-Fatiha that has to be memorized, that has to be said in the salah up until this point, the tashahhud, the first tashahhud, which, I don't know, could be about the length of Al-Fatiha, maybe a little shorter, but they're about in length close. So now the first tashahhud, At-Tahiyyatu Lillah. So when Allah's name is mentioned now, he said what? The fingers will be moved when Allah's name is mentioned. So if we're sitting like this, and now we're saying at the tashahhud, At-Tahiyyatu Lillah. Was-salawatu, there's no movement. Wat-tayyibatu, there's no movement. Assalamu alayka ayyuhan nabi wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. They say like that. They say to move the finger with the mention of Allah's name, and they bring different explanations as they say. From it is tanbihan ala tawheed, the fact that Allah's name is mentioned and the person is aware of the oneness of Allah in that case. Wallahu a'lam. Assalamu alayna wa ala ibadillahi as-salihin. And then the dua, may Allah have send salam on us and all of the righteous, all of his righteous servants. And this dua is the tashahhud that if we don't know it, this is a time to learn this. Inshallah, in this month. طيب. السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. And this is called At-Tashahhud Al-Awwal. At-Tashahhud Al-Awwal, which most people, not most, but many people call it Tashahhud. Right? The Tashahhud is really called At-Tashahhud. At-Tashahhud. Right? It's not Tashahhud. That's how it's spelled in English, but it's called At-Tashahhud. This is the first At-Tashahhud because it's two, right? It's two. Is it two or one? Huh? Two? All the time? La. Not all the time. So it depends, right? In those prayers, and that's why it says, this is the first tashahhud. If it's for what? If it's for Dhuhr, if it's for Asr, if it's for Maghrib, and Isha. And those prayers there too. But in Fajr, we only do one tashahhud. Tayyib. So, after saying that, this is the tashahhud al-awwal, as he says, علمه النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم Ibn Mas'ud, that the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم taught Ibn Mas'ud, and that hadith is in the Sahihain, is in Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim. ثم إن كانت الصلاة الثنائية, if it is a salah that is only 2 rak'ah, right? Like what? Fajr or Sunan, maybe coming into the masjid, or Jum'ah, or, right, the Eid, right? Sunan al-Fajr. If it's a salat that you're praying, it's only 2 rak'ah. In that case, now we have to read or recite the second tashahhud. So we recite that first part, and then we will add on it the second part. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallayta ala ali Ibrahim innaka hamidun majid wa barik ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama barakta ala ali Ibrahim innaka hamidun majid, which is the second tashahhud, tashahhud al-thani. That's the second part. So when you put those two together, that's the longest portion when the imam is at the end of the salat sitting, right? At the end of the salat sitting, he's reading both together. So the sitting is long. Now, depending on the one leading the salat, some people read a little faster than others, right? It's just life. Some people read slow, some people recite fast. So depending on the imam, is depending on how long you're going to be sitting at the end before we finish the salat, before the tasneem. Everybody with me? Tayyib. He says, after that, because that has to be done, and that comes in another chapter, but this tashahhud al-akhir is not something that is optional. These are not optional du'as and dhikrs. These are things that are obligatory, and sometimes pillars of the prayer, depending on which one we're talking about. So we should be learning all of them. All of them we need to know. All of them we need to know. Now, after the second tashahhud, he says, another dua. أعوذ بالله من عذاب جهنم ومن عذاب القبر ومن فتنة المحيا والممات ومن فتنة المسيح الدجال. 4 minutes. He says, after that, there's another dua to seek refuge in Allah from 4 things after the tashahhud that is recommended to do, and the dua is so heavy that some of the scholars declare it to be obligatory based on the different narrations. To seek refuge in Allah, to say, I seek refuge, I seek protection in Allah from the punishment of the hellfire, and from the punishment of the grave, and from the fitna, from the trials and the fitna of life that we face in life, and the fitna when we die, to seek Allah's protection from all of those things, and from the fitna, Masih al-Dajjal, the Dajjal that will come at the end of time, that the Prophet ﷺ described in the hadith as being the greatest fitna. And it says, and a person can make other du'as besides this one specifically. It says, وَلَهُ الدعاء بما ورد في الكتاب أو السنة أو عن السلف أو بأمر آخرة. A person can make another dua that there might be in the Quran or in the Sunnah, or different du'as that some of the Salaf used to make. طيب. It says, ثم يقول عن يمينه. Then the person says to the right, السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. وعن يساره كذلك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. طيب. That's what if it's a 2 rak'ah prayer. If it was a 3 rak'ah or a 4 rak'ah, after we pray 2, then we got to stand back up and complete the 3rd and the 4th rak'ah. It says, وَإِنْ كَانَ فِي ثُلَاثِيَّةٍ أَوْ رُبَاعِيَّةٍ قَامَ مُكَبِّرًا بَعْدَ التَّشَهُّدِ الْأَوَّلِ وَصَلَّى بَقِيَ كَالثَّانِيَةِ بِالْفَاتِحَةِ فَقَطْ. So if we're praying Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, or Isha, after we pray the first 2 rak'ah, and we do the Tashahhud al-Awwal, the first one, we're going to stand up for the 3rd rak'ah, and we're only going to read Al-Fatiha. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, that's it. After that means we're going to say Allahu Akbar and go into ruku'. Right? We're going to pray the whole rak'ah like that with the sajda between the sajda like we did. Finish that and stand up for the 4th rak'ah. We break one, the adhan, y'all. We got 1 minute, so we're going to stop right here. And then and the 3rd and 4th rak'ah is only to read Al-Fatiha. Only to read Al-Fatiha. One of y'all take these right now. Only to read Al-Fatiha. ثم يجلس متورطا للتشهد الأخير وكذلك المرأة. It says, and then after that, in the 4th rak'ah, a person sits for the last tashahhud, and the woman, the sisters, pray the same way as the men, and some of them say, as he says here, except that the woman shouldn't spread herself too wide space like that. Wallahu a'lam, and we'll continue next Wednesday, inshallah. Sallallahu alaihi wa sallam wa barak nabiyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Wait for the adhan.